to our anniversary dinner. All the guests, appreciate you coming out and joining us out here. I'd like to recognize everybody. I know the staff from the Buckingham County Physicians left. I don't see anybody from that. I guess they all went. Appreciate them coming out. Also, want to recognize our guests. Some people know everybody, but I want to introduce anyway. This is over here, Hoover Johnson. Raise your hand, please. Mr. Johnson is our neighbor up here at the end of the driveway, and been down here many times. Everybody else, I have a list, but I think everybody else is on the board. I'm sorry, Van Shepard and his father Wallace from Van's the bank, and Wallace is our neighbor over here, right behind us here on 626, and we appreciate you guys coming out and joining us. The other people are board members, advisory board members. This is Mr. Spencer, his wife, right here. Mr. Thomas, everybody knows Mrs. Thomas's husband. Mr. Saxon over here, needs no introduction. And I believe that's all the introductions. Oh, I'm sorry, Ms. Borum. This is the lady I was going to tell you. If your bus ticket gets here and you get home on time, you can thank Ms. Borum. And if somehow your bus ticket gets messed up, you don't get there, you blame Greyhound bus lines. She's the lady in charge of that. She's in charge of the farm bus station. Okay. We have a short program. Won't take too much more time here, but we do have some things prepared. I want to explain a little bit about the origin of the school and the origin of the groups. So, could I have the guys that are going to do that come on up, please? I might want to turn around. First, we'll have Robert. This is introducing the groups that we have, and we'll do them in order of order they were formed in. So, Robert is representing the first group, Pinnacle.
On January 5th, 1976, a dream became reality. David Jones entered as the first student of New Dominion School, starting the first group we now know as Pinnacle. Along with David came the first group leader, Mr. Wayne Connors. Together they pitched their pup tents on a selected spot and built a tradition, the tradition of helping people be themselves. Pinnacle did not get running water until October 8th, so for 9 months water had to be hauled from a pump where the pump house is now. The first trip Pinnacle took was a 4-day hiking trip on the Appalachian Trail. Pinnacle at one time had a service building on the campsite for use during severe weather. Stood to the right of the wood corral. In the summer of 1976, Pinnacle took a 3-week biking trip to Virginia Beach. This year, Pinnacle built a new wood corral tent and dug a new privy pit. We also set the group lodge cleanup record of 17 minutes. Pinnacle's members are Sean Sutherland, Matt Ellison, Kevin Humphrey, Robert Bland, Jimmy Seidenstricker, Jimmy Nguyen, Mark Osborne, Chris Lakey, Alex Pedalians, our group leader, Mr. Herman, and our senior group leader, Mr. Wallauer.
Swanka and Arcadia.
On November 14th, 1984, the group Neosha was closed, and a new group was formed with 3 members from Neosha and 3 members from the other groups. The group, at the time, the group didn't have no name. And Mr. H. William was assigned as supervisor to the new group. They had a list of names, and they voted on one that they thought best, and that was Swanka. Swanka means love, respect, and understanding. Some changes was made in the group to fill out. One of the first group leaders in Swanka was Mr. Jacobson. Later on, Mr. Garnes was supervisor. And in the year 1990, we went on a 3-day and a 10-day hiking trip We also went on a 20-day canoe trip, of about 270 miles. And we built many tents, first, second, and third. To our group, leaders and members are Ms. Mario, Cam, Dwayne, Greg, George, Jason, Chris, Mark, and me are here. Supervising, senior group is Mr. Hatchett, and supervising Mr. Ross.
Okay, next is Swallow.
Swallow was the third group formed at New Dominion. It has been a group since July 1976. The term Salaho means problem solvers. Salaho was formed with people of Banaka and Neosho. Mr. Jacobson was one of our early students in Salaho. His number was 15. The group was the only group to have two-story sleeping tents. They were 15 feet tall and about 12 feet wide. Salaho was also first to build a quarter hogan, ditty bag rack, and heating tent. This year, Salaho has been on an overnight, 3-day, 8-day hiking trips. We have built our group meeting tent, A-frame, wood corral, dish rack, tool tent, quarter hook, and ditty bag rack. The people in our group now are as follows: Mike, Van, Mike Kane, Rodney, Charlie, Robert, David, Steve, Alan, and myself, Jason. Our group leaders are Mr. Clem, Mr. Costa, and our supervisor, Mr. Green.
Okay, Chicago.
On January 4th, 1977, a new group was formed. Members from the groups Banaka, Neosho, and Slaho were called together after a staff meeting and were challenged to begin a new group at a new campsite. Mr. Clement took the 5 students selected and 2 staff members to the hill overlooking the big pond. This was their new campsite, and they chose their name as Chautauqua. After several snowy weeks, the first sleeping tent was finished, and the students got to move out of their puck tents. This tent was built on the site where Tawanka's first sleeping tent is now. In 1980, the group was closed down, then reopened in 1982 at the campsite where we are at now. After completely rebuilding the old campsite, Chautauqua's first trip was bicycling at the C&O Canal along the side of the Potomac River from Washington, D.C. to Cumberland, Maryland. In the years since 1982, the group Chautauqua has canoed Okmulgee, Current, Black and White, Swanee, and James Rivers. We have hiked in North Carolina, Georgia, Tennessee, and Pennsylvania, in addition to several sections of the AT, which is the Appalachian Trail, here in Virginia. In 1991, we are looking forward to rebuilding our campsite, beginning with our library and craft tent, then in the spring going to successful hiking and canoeing trips. Our group members now are Nathan Farley, Don Sneed, David Bonham, Jimmy Moses, Chris Warner, Brian Blankenship, Kevin Slater, Joe Biller, Curtis Brandon, and our group leaders are Mr. Larkin and Mr. Pratisa. Our senior group leader is Mr. Moffett.
Okay, now Steve from McCurdy.
Curdy is an old Indian word which means strength, encouraged through unity. Curdy was the 5th group. We were formed on July 27, 1977. The group lived in pup tents until a campsite was built. It took 13 months to complete tents. The group was the first ones to build their ready logs in the fall of '78. Now let me tell you about the group and where we are today and the trips we have gone on. Curdy is a strong group that cares about one another. The group has a lot of problems, but we always come out on top. Some of the trips the group has gone on are a 1-day or a 3-day hiking trip, a 3-day canoe trip, a 9-day hiking trip, a 3-day stayer at Camp Virginia JC summer camp. Some of the tents the group made this year is a personal hygiene tent, quarter hug and A-frame group meeting tent, third tent, group sign wool corral tents, library and craft tent, and furniture. The names of the staff and students are Mr. Pearsall, Mr. Malusi, Stephen Elgin, Buddy Snyder, Jack Parker, Ryan Hinkle, Ronnie Moore, Frank Bird, Alex Suero, Mike Page, Shannon Campbell, Keith Gable, Neil Miles, Donald Walker, and our supervisor, Ms. Scott.
Now Richie from China.
Some of the group has